What do olives, martinis, and acrylic paint have in common? They're shaken, poured, and a little bit fancy. Hi everyone, welcome to Ivy and Hayes Art Studio. I'm Michelle. Today we have kind of a really fun one. I have a pin on that is a martini glass with olives in there. And so the colors that we picked today are pretty much, we're going to try to make it work like a martini. What would a martini inspired pour look like? It's a pretty iconic drink, and so we got to do it right. So anyway, let's go ahead and I will show you the colors that we did. I already did a consistency test on them, and we did have some that we had to add some water to. The Amsterdam paints are usually a little thicker. Those are the colors. I'll go over the colors with you too, but they're usually a little bit thicker. And so I just added a little water to them, so that way, you know, all the paints are kind of the same consistency. So I think what we're going to do today, we are going to do a deconstructed bloom, I believe. That's what we're shooting for. I've never done one before, but that's half the fun, right? So we're going to just kind of get into it today. Let me go ahead and tell you the colors that we've got here today. We're starting off with Titanium White. That is an Amsterdam paint. And then we've got a combo. It's kind of a Azo Yellow Lemon and Titanium Buff Light. I added a little bit just to kind of lighten up the color. And then we have Olive Green by Amsterdam. We have to have the olives in there, right? And then this one is kind of a green gold, and this is by Golden. The first three were Amsterdam paints. This one is a golden paint. And then we've got Pearl White, because we have to have something that matches the pick, right, for the olives. So we're going to do a little Pearl White. And then we have, just to kind of give it a little depth, we've got a darker green in here. And this one is actually a color by Arteza that doesn't have a name to it. It just has a number, 718. So that's the Arteza. And then the last one we have here is kind of, it's another combination. It's Neutral Gray by Pebeo and Pearl Space Gray by Arteza. So that's our color palette today. And then we're going to put a couple of what we call cell activators on there. We're going to do white and black. We're going to pour those on. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of puddle the paint, and then we're going to use a blow dryer to just kind of, you know, kind of have it go all over the place. And then we're going to do another puddle over here, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to do it with a blow dryer, and then we may spin it off too. So let's see how this turns out. I have no idea. And with the colors, we'll have to see what the color palette looks like. And hopefully it'll turn out fine. If not, it's going to be fun. And I never say anything is a mistake or ugly. I always call it a puddle of potential. So this is either going to come out fabulous, or it will be a puddle of potential. So either way, let's have fun. Let me go ahead and put my hair up, gloves on, and then we'll pour. Okay, let's go ahead and start putting some color down. We're going to start with the Titanium White, and we're going to do one kind of puddle of all the colors together on one side, and we'll blow it out with the blow dryer, kind of see how that turns out. And then we'll come over here and do another puddle, and we'll see how this works out. So we're going to do a little bit of the Titanium White. And then we'll do the Azo Yellow Lemon and Titanium Buff. That's right. There's two colors in that one. And here's the Olive Green. This is probably going to be way too much paint, but that's okay. This one I spilled a little while ago, so okay. And then we'll do the Pearl White just to give it a little shimmer. And here's our A718. Whatever that is, that's a mystery. Put a little bit of that. And then we're going to go in with the Neutral Gray by Pebeo and Pearl Space Gray. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. I really, really don't. Normally, I've tested the color palettes beforehand, and I didn't on this one. So we are totally winging it here. So this is the cell activator. We'll see if this is going to give us some cells. We're going to, excuse me, we're going to do some white, and then we're going to do some black on top. Okay. Oop. All right, let's see what we're going to do here. So we're going to do cool. We're going to do cool and high. Okay, we're going to go ahead and let these cells develop a little bit while we go back over here on this side and do another little puddle. And then we'll try to bring them all in. I've never used this blow dryer either. so we've got a few news tonight. But that's okay. That's part of the fun. Okay, we're just going to do another puddle of all the colors. And then we're going to spin it out. I know this is a stretch as far as a martini, but we'll see how it ends up coming out. Maybe some of the colors underneath will come through. And if not, then we have a puddle of potential. And we'll see what we can do with that. Okay, here we go. Cool and high. Okay, we're going to pour a little bit of the white before we try to pour this off. Spin this off. We're going to put some white down just to help it make its way to the edge here. We'll put some white. Okay, let's see what happens here. Oh, you know what? Let me just put a little bit of color. I mean, a little bit of something so that it can stick to down here too. We don't want it flying off. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, we need to do a few more spins here. It gets messy sometimes, but that's okay. That's part of the fun. The aprons can't stay clean forever, right? Okay, let's see how much paint we still have. Yeah, we still have a good amount of paint. We can keep on spinning. We're trying to get it off the edges too. So we've got a little work to do over here and over here. And then we'll see what this thing looks like. We've got some big cells in here. Pretty ones. Almost there. We've got one corner left. It's going to be a stubborn one too. Actually, let me go put this back over here a little bit. Keep it under the... We're getting paint everywhere. Well, we've got our strand of olives going down the middle. That's something. This is actually kind of pretty. I like how there's some dark spots on here. So this was definitely shaken, not stirred. This is definitely, and this is a martini with a twist. We are just about there. And the paint's still coming off, so there was plenty of paint on the canvas. And speaking of canvas, today we used an 11 by 14 canvas for this. And we are going to put more. We're going to have to fix up the sides a little bit since the paint's already kind of slowing down a bit. Okay, we've got this side over here, but I actually like it. I was a little thinking, but I really like this strand in here. That could definitely be the strand of olives for our martini. But let's continue on. Let's just do a couple more spins. There we go. This is what happens. Hey, you're going to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay. Getting close. It's just this one side over here. I'm gonna have to pour a little bit of the gray and the greenish on here. I might have to go back in and just touch it up a little bit. Any spots that didn't get any paint on them. Not very many. But look, let's go ahead and let me go get, I'll bring you in so you can see this. This is really pretty. I really like this. I was kind of shocked. I wasn't sure about this color palette, but I like it. I think we're done spinning too. I just wanted to give it one last. Let me give it one more. See if we can make it fall off again. I actually still feel paint flying off, so that's a good thing. You don't want a lot of paint, left on there because it could crack. If there's too much, it just doesn't dry. It doesn't dry evenly. And so the parts that have paint left on them, like excess amount of paint, they will, you could possibly crack in that. Okay, let me go ahead and bring you in for the wet results. Okay, we're going to take a look at the wet results. So we can see, look at this. There's our olives right there. This is kind of cool. It does look like it's been shaken. That's kind of cool right there. Those could be the ice cubes when they're shaken. Anyway, I knew today was going to definitely be where we're going to have to use our imagination. And I think we accomplished that. I think we're definitely going to have to use our imagination for this martini pour. But anyway, it was super fun anyway. Boy, did we spin some paint off of this. So anyway, I'm going to clean up the sides and wipe up the drips. And then as soon as it's dry, I will show you the dry results. Here it is dry. I've named her Shaken. In keeping with our Let's Use Our Imagination theme on this one, what do you think it looks like inside of a cocktail shaker as a martini is being made? I think this explosive action captures that perfectly. The ice cubes hitting the side of the shaker while mixing with the alcohol. Once it pours out into the glass, it's garnished with a ribbon of olives. To me, this also looks like a scarf blowing in the wind. I think about some of the other beautiful drinks and their colors, like a tequila sunrise or a blue Hawaiian. What drinks can you think of that might make a pretty color palette? Let me know in the comments. They don't have to be adult beverages either. Check out the linked video where we did an unpredictable flip cup. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Well, thanks for experimenting with me today. I hope today's pour lifted your spirits. Pun intended. Cheers to trying something fun and new at any age. I think that's a wrap, and I hope you come back. Bye for now.